say, hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hi guys, welcome to the show.
Welcome to another episode of Weird Mom, a podcast where I talk about the things they just don't tell you about in raising a kid, or maybe the things they do tell you about, but just don't go into much detail. I'm your host and resident Weird Mom, Chelsie. Y'all, I'm kind of tired because it's 10 o'clock in the p.m. and yeah, I'm tired. I'm old and I'm tired, and I wasn't supposed to record this late, but it is what it is. At least I'm recording and getting it done. How are y'all doing? What's going on? How is your life? What is happening? Tell me. Slide in my DMs because you can't tell me right now. I know this might be a loopy episode, so just bear with me. This week has been, let me recall what I did this week. I worked out, and I did a little trip with my family to Austin to visit more family, and it was nice. It was nice to not be, where I'm at. I don't want to tell you my exact city, but yeah, it was nice to get a change of scenery and we'll take some walks and just be a little bit on vacation, but not super on vacation, because I couldn't really do much. Like I said, can't really leave the house to do much, but it was still nice to be in a different place. Sometimes you just need a change of scenery, man, to really make things a little better for you, clear your mind, things like that. And ever since then, I've been more at peace. My soul has been more at peace. My mind has been more at peace. On Monday for Memorial Day, since I didn't have to log in to work, and I thought I was going to spend the day being productive, but no, I just kind of sat around. It was like a really rainy day for most of the day, so I just kind of sat around and fiddled around on my phone and listened to podcasts, and it was nice. It was relaxing, y'all. I took my braids down. I conditioned the hell out of my hair, and it just felt good. It felt really good. Do y'all ever, do that? Sometimes, even as much as I complain about my hair, it is kind of therapeutic to wash it. Now it is. Like, at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm done with my hair. I want to chop it off, which is why I, haven't really done much to my hair since March. But now I'm, back to falling in love with my hair again and loving what it is. So yeah, I just needed a break from my hair. I have a lot of hair, if you didn't know. So yeah, I've also been engaging in a little retail therapy. Not anything major, just a few shirts here and there, a few things that I've been meaning to get but didn't really put it on my radar. I had a while back got this pendant necklace from Etsy, and it's a lion, and it has Wade's name etched onto the lion, and the chain broke within a month because it was so thin and fragile. So I ordered a new chain that I think is a little bit more durable, and I'm excited for that to come in so I can start wearing that again. I love wearing necklaces. I love wearing rings, even though I haven't really worn rings in a while. I haven't put on earrings in a while. I put on earrings today because I was feeling good. I even put on a dress today. I feel at peace. It feels great. I don't know what it is. I'm going to ride the wave and, hope it sticks around for a long time, extended period of time. As far as Wade goes, while we were down in Austin, we went swimming. And we really actually went swimming. Usually, I don't know. It's okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, we went swimming. Wade, as long as he has the little floaties, the arm floaties, and then they have a chest one, and they all connect, he is able to like just swim on his own, and he was actually kicking and moving around. He was even jumping into the pool, and I wanted to cry because I cannot believe that my little potato baby is now swimming on his own and even going underwater a little bit. Yeah, he has not mastered the art of holding his nose, because he did feel that, when you go underwater and you don't hold your nose, and then your nose just burns and you want to cry. He felt that a couple times. He did cry. And I I wanted to laugh. I know I'm bad. I wanted to laugh, but I was like, hey, yeah, that's a part of swimming. And I was trying to teach him how to hold his nose with his hands. With his hand. You don't need two hands to hold a nose. And he wasn't quite mastering it, because like every time he would jump, as soon as he jumps, he would like take his hand off his nose. But the point is, my boy is fearless, and he kept getting back on the horse and doing it anyway. And I love that about him. I admire that about him, and I hope this is something that continues for him, because I think it could be something real positive that can go a long way in the future. So yeah, I say all this to say, isn't it crazy how like you go each year and your kid progresses in like a seasonal thing, if that makes sense. So like, I had Wade that first year, I was having to hold him all the time because he was like a little baby. He was barely walking. And, I just had to be real vigilant and make sure. The next year, he was walking. I just had to make sure, like, he didn't go to a deep end or anything, and that he was able to sustain himself. A lot of holding on to him. Then last year, it was like, he was independent, but we didn't really go to any pools too much. And even then, like, I still kind of had to hold on to him most of the time. And then this year, it's like, I don't have to hold on. He's like, go away, Mom. I don't need you. And it's exciting and sad at the same time. But it's a part of life. And that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. But yeah, that's what's happening with Wade and with me. We're going to take a break, and you go drink some water or something. I don't know. Do something healthy. Go do a sit-up, and we'll be back. Welcome back from your break. Fun fact about this part of the podcast, I had to re-record it because when I recorded it last night, it was not like, I didn't feel like it was quality, and I felt like I was all over the place. So here I am, re-recording. Hopefully my thoughts are more streamlined, more poignant. Anyways, let's talk about breastfeeding. So let me begin from even before I was pregnant. I knew I wanted to breastfeed Wade before I was pregnant. I had grown up thinking I was breastfed, which I'm pretty sure I was. And I think my reasoning behind wanting to breastfeed is because I wanted to make sure he had a good immune system. I think that was my main thing. Also, I think when it comes to breastfeeding, a lot of people can get snooty about it and say, oh, breast is the best thing. If you don't give your child breast milk, are you even a parent? Blah, blah, blah. And that's not how I was thinking. I knew I wanted to give my child the best as far as food goes, because food is important to me. I think about food a lot. I read an article somewhere a long time ago where we make like so many decisions about food a day, like in the hundreds. So I wanted to make sure that the nutrients I was giving him was the best, to give him the best chance, if that makes sense, the best chance to not get sick. And so I got pregnant, and I was gearing up in my mind to actually breastfeed. Now, I mentioned before that I am a researcher. I like to know what I'm getting myself into before I actually do something, because I hate or no, I fear the unknown. So, but there is a threshold to my research to where once I start doing it and it's just too much, I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop and I'm just going to experience it and just use the research that I have to kind of help me survive. Probably wasn't the best idea in this case to do, but I'll get into that later. So, yes, I get pregnant. I'm gearing up to breastfeed. I find out that through my insurance, my health insurance at my job, that I can get a free breast pump, which I thought was amazing. And then my job at the time did have a breastfeeding room, if I'm not mistaken. I think it did, because I was like, sweeter. And I was, I got the breast pump through my insurance, and I got a Medela. And if you don't know the Medela brand, when I was researching, it was probably the most prominent one, and it had the most accessories, and it was easily accessible. But I don't know if it was necessarily the best brand, but it's not to say that it wasn't quality. But the breast pump I got was like the basic of the basic, where you had to sit and plug it into the wall and pump milk. And me being never before mom was like, okay, yeah, that's fine, as long as the milk comes out, let's just get it and keep it moving. Because I think the other breast pumps did cost a little money, like the insurance gave you a discount on it, but I was like, why do that when this one's free? Yo, that statement alone has gotten me into so many like poor purchases. But anyways, yes, I got the breast pump. I do a little more research, but I feel like I knew the basics. And I was like, okay, and then I'm also going to take a breastfeeding class because, one little class should do it, right? So, like 2 months, probably, within the 2 months before I gave birth, I went to a free breastfeeding class at Babies R Us with my little sister. And it was like a few hours after work where they just talked about, I guess, a little bit more in depth of the breastfeeding. So they taught us how to hold the baby, like, with the football pose, or a pose where, like, the baby is wrapped around your body somehow. I don't know. It was a lot of different ways you could hold the baby so they can feed. And then they taught us how to hold the breast. We have to make a U shape with your hand, like, yeah. And if you breastfeed, you know what I'm talking about. And, that's how you get the milk out and whatnot, or help the milk come out. Taught me about, like, how the milk doesn't come from, like, the one large nipple. I don't know what it's called technically. But it comes from also the little holes or the little dots around the nipples, which I thought that was fascinating. And yeah, that's what they taught us. I got a few freebies, and that was it. It was probably all of 2, maybe 3 hours. And I thought, I'm good. I got my breast pump. I got some freebies. They just taught me some stuff. I think I'm okay. I think I'll be okay. So I get to, giving birth to Wade, which was the best thing ever. And I had a C-section, so after he came out and I went to the recovery room, that's when they were trying to get him to latch on to me for the first time, because the hospital I gave birth to thought that was super important to do that right off the bat, or as soon as possible. So in there, it seemed like he was latching on pretty well. He was eating a little bit, but of course he was a brand new human, so he was trying to figure it out. But yeah, he did latch on and drink a little bit. But at that point, your breast milk doesn't automatically come in. At first, it's called colostrum, which they refer to as liquid gold. And it's more of a yellowish color. And so it's not as abundant, but it is rich in, like, nutrients and things. And then once the colostrum runs out, then that's when the actual milk comes in. So my actual milk didn't come in until probably the day before I left the hospital. But during that time, he wasn't really eating too much. It didn't seem like I was getting a lot of milk to come out. And, as I mentioned before, that's when that nurse came in and said, he really needs to be eating more. You should give him some formula to, oh my God, I'm losing my words, to supplement. That's what it is. And in my new mother mind, I was like, no, this is not what I want. I can do this. I can feed my baby from me. But in hindsight, I know that was pretty dumb. Like, the point is to feed the baby. Whether it comes from me or not it doesn't matter at that point, as long as the baby gets fed. And I was like, no, you know what? Thank you for these formula samples, but I got it. I said that in my mind. On the outside, I wanted to cry. Anyways, you get home, and he's latching on better, but he's still kind of like eating weird, and he's like a snacker, so he'll like eat every 30 minutes. And I was like, bro, how could you be hungry? You just like sat on my breast for like so long and you're still hungry. I think that had to do with him having a heart condition that I didn't know about, because they said that it was probably the reason why he wasn't eating as much as he was. But I didn't know that, and it just kind of made me feel like, like, this is awful. This is not what I expected, but I still wanted to do it because, the first time thing, like, it's my first time doing this, and I wanted to really ride it out and make it to a year. And I thought this was just the little transitional period before things get into a routine and things get better. Probably about a week after I got home, I started using the breast pump because I was getting a lot of milk coming in. And when the milk comes in, engorgement is real. Like, oh my God, your boobs just get so big, but they're so full, and they hurt so bad, and you gotta like pump often or feed often in order to keep it from not swelling so much and not hurting, because it's a lot. You just got to be able to sleep on your stomach, and now you have boobs that hurt, and it sucks. So yeah, I started using the breast pump, and that's when it set in that I had made a mistake by getting the free breast pump that just plugs into the wall. I didn't, you're just sitting there pumping milk. You're just sitting there milking yourself, feeling like a literal cow, just sitting there. You can't move because the breast pump is plugged into the wall. It won't go anywhere with you, and I don't know why I thought it would. I didn't read the directions. I just thought the plug was the charger. I think that was my thinking because I didn't read the details. Yeah, really bad idea. You're just sitting there pumping milk, and I felt useless. I couldn't do anything besides sit there and pump milk. I could barely hold him because the little pump things were in the way, little cups. And even though I know I wasn't useless, it still felt like I was being useless. Like, duh, you're not being useless. You're, making sure your kid has food, but still so annoying. And I think when I do this again, because I do plan on having more children and I do want to try it again, I'm definitely going to get a breast pump that can move with me so I can do other things while pumping milk. So I was doing that and storing breast milk, feeding him. It was a lot to balance. It was a lot. And it's not like my milk was not coming in, because it was. It was overwhelming. And I was storing milk, but I was like, oh my God, I gotta keep milking myself because this milk is gonna run out eventually. I can't just sit here and just use this milk. and not pump, if that makes sense to you. And so I just felt like I was a hamster on a wheel. It was just an endless cycle. Pump, put the milk in the fridge, make sure you use the milk before it goes bad, over and over again, which seemed like for months, but it was really 1 month, because then Wade went to the hospital for a heart defect, and all the stress of that caused me to not pump as much as I should until the milk dried up, and he wound up having to use formula. And I felt bad because I didn't want it to end, really, even though it was monotony, right, yeah, monotonous. I still wanted to try. I wanted to do this. This was my dream, and I feel like I was giving up on my dream so easily. But I had to give myself some grace because, you didn't know your child would have to go to the hospital for 2 weeks. And that's so stressful. It's already stressful enough being a mom, but add that on top of it. I was out for the count. So I had to give myself some grace, and I got over it, because at the end of the day, as long as he's eating and the milk is not messing up his stomach, then it's fine. And he's fine. And he is. He's 3 years old. He's still alive today. A formula-fed baby. Still alive and healthy today, y'all. Almost 4. So, yeah, that was my journey. Like I said, I do want to do it again, and I do want to strive for the year, and I'm going to definitely take all the things that I learned in my 1 month of breastfeeding and basically do as I shouldn't do, or do what I didn't do. I'm going to do more research. I'm going to get a mobile breast pump. I'm going to... Oh, and that's another thing I didn't mention. When you're breastfeeding, I don't know if this ever goes away, because like I said, I only did it for a month, but your nipples hurt so bad. They get so raw and so scabby sometimes, and you have to put this nipple cream on there for some relief. It's awful. And then your kid latches on and you're happy that they're eating, but at the same time you're in pain. You just want to cry. And then another thing, whenever you pump breast milk, and if it ever spills for any reason, you literally want to sob. Like you just lost $1 million. You just lost a family heirloom, because getting that milk is so hard. It's so challenging. And sometimes one breast gives you more milk than the other breast. Sometimes you don't get a lot of milk at all in one sitting of pumping. And it's just, if you drop that, even just a little ounce, that's just heartbreaking. It's one of the worst feelings in the world, I will say. I can honestly say that. And I know there are some people out here that feel the same. And I feel you, man. It sucks, because it's now I gotta... You really just want to cry. You want to sob. You want to give up. You're like, oh my God, this is not for me. But yeah, that has been my experience with breastfeeding. Tell me, slide in my DMs, email me. Did you have a similar experience? Or was yours just so magical and you got to make it to 5 years of breastfeeding? I'm exaggerating, but if you did, that's awesome. Cool. But yeah, I would love to hear other people's breastfeeding stories and what it was like for them, because for me, it was rough. And I have no one to blame but myself, because I should have asked more questions. But I didn't know what questions to ask. I thought it was just basic, put kid on boob, kid drinks from boob. That's it. And I think my mindset was, I did hear people say, sometimes the milk won't come in, or you won't get as much milk as you want. And I was like, that won't happen to me. Don't ever think that. Always account for it maybe happening to you. That way you can prepare yourself mentally if it does. And you're like, oh, okay, they said this would happen, and I'm prepared for this. Also, I might, look into, if I have problems next time, a lactation consultant. That probably would help as well, just to get better methods and stuff. I don't know. It was just one of those things where it's like, I'm a mother. My body should know how to do this naturally. I shouldn't need a lactation consultant. But in reality, that's what they're there for. Everybody's different. Every mother's different. So utilize your resources to get it done. If breastfeeding is something you really want to do, and it is in the cards for you, because for some people it's not even in the cards for them, to utilize all the resources that you can to make it happen. And you got to put in some work at the beginning, but after that, I'm sure it gets easier and it gets more of a routine. So we will see. Thanks for listening. We will be back with the last part of the episode. We're back, and this is the part of the show where I wrap things up and talk about what I'm into, because I have an obsessive personality and I love things hard for short amounts of time. Some things, not all things. There are some things that I love intensely for long periods of time. So this week, I am so excited. This week, I've been hardcoring Where My Mom's At podcast by Christina P. So if you don't know, Christina P is this comedian that I found through Robert. So Robert watches Tom Segura, and his wife is Christina P. And so I watched her comedy special on Netflix and I laughed. And then I found out that from Robert that her and him have a podcast together. Cool. Then I found out that she has her own podcast about parent stuff, and I'm like, yes. So I've been really listening to a lot of those episodes, and it's equal parts funny and like just raw humor. And then there's there's some good sentimental nuggets or sentimental things, and then just good nuggets of knowledge. So an episode I listened to recently, because I like to binge listen to episodes until I am tired of it, and then I just go back and just keep updated on the new episodes. So one of the episodes came out like earlier this year, was about self-care, and Christina was basically saying like both her kids got sick, and then she got sick and she was feeling like a total zombie, and she was like, she gets tired of hearing self-care referred to as like, oh, you need to meditate, you need to go to the spa, you need to do yoga, which are all great, but she was like, realistically, moms don't have time for that most of the time. And so she's like, she went to the doctor because she was sick and she got medication. And she was like, did you know you can go to the doctor? Because I guess she grew up in a family where like they didn't really go to the doctor. And I can kind of relate, because I didn't really go to the doctor too much either. I was like, I could fight this out. I could ride this out. It's fine. I could just take some medicine. Cool. And so she was basically saying, hey, yo, did you know you can go to the doctor and get medicine to zip this stuff up real fast? And it was just, it's so simple, but it's like, yeah, you can. You don't have to suffer. Why? And I kind of learned that too. Like, I think I'm getting too old to be sick, if that makes sense. Like, to suffer through sickness. I'm like, this last time I got sick in December, I was starting to like, I'll write it out. I'll take one medicine a day. No, forget that. I took hella medicine and stuff cleared up within a day. Because I'm like, yo, I can't do this. I can't be sick for long periods of time. Then Robert got sick at the beginning of this year. And guess what I did? Did I sleep in the same bed with him? No. I went to a different room and slept in a different room, me and Wade, for one whole week. Boom. Because I don't want to get sick. I'll give you your little orange juice, your little chicken soup, and leave it outside the door. But am I coming in that room? Heck no. I'm going and keeping away from you for the time being because I don't want to get sick. I hate being sick. It's so depressing because you can't do as much as you want to do and you feel so useless, and it's like, oh, there's so much I have to do but I can't because I'm sick and I feel awful. Ugh, sickness is depressing. So yeah, I went off on a tangent, but yeah, I've been really listening to Where My Mom's At podcast, which has like one of the funniest intros I've ever heard for a podcast. And yeah, if you like funny humor about being a parent, like kind of crude in a way, listen to it. It's not all like, oh gosh, rah rah rah, which I like sometimes, but sometimes I'm like, yo, just give me the real. Like, yeah, my kid, like she talks about like how her 4-year-old is obsessed with buttholes. Which it's like, yeah, kids are weird that way. They get obsessed with weird things. Like Wade is I don't know if he has that. I don't know if he has something weird he's obsessed with yet. But I'll let you know whenever that happens. Yeah. Oh, you know what he is? Right now he's in a phase where like, oh, he digs in his nose and eats his boogers. And it's also annoying because like you want to eat boogers, but you don't want to eat a piece of chicken. How does that make sense to me? But anyways, that's what I'm into this week. And then oh my gosh, I'm horrible. I forgot to get an affirmation. I think the affirmation, should I just make it up? I think I should. Their affirmation is, fed is best. It's more of a quote, but, it's simple. Fed is best. Like, just make sure your kid gets food. Make sure your kid gets some nutrients. And keep it rolling. There's so many other things you could worry about. I felt like that was so ingenuine and just like, I want to get it over with. But it's true, like, there's so many things you have to worry about as a parent. Like, your mind just, it goes on and on. It just never ends. And so, like, why not take one of those stresses away? Oh, my kid doesn't want to drink my breast milk? Cool. Let's go ahead and give him this formula. There's plenty of different varieties. I'm sure he'll take one of these. Boom! You have a kid 3 years later that's still alive, i.e. me. Okay, so as usual, follow me on Instagram, Weird Mom Pod. That's at Weird Mom Pod. Email me at weirdmompodcast@gmail.com if you want to share anything, if you're interested in being a guest, if you have any questions, blah, blah, blah. Email me. Yo, let's take it old school. Let's take it back to the double O's and send a nice email. How fun is that? We have new episodes every Wednesday, and this podcast is available on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Play Music. Rate, review, and subscribe, please. Just for announcement's sake, next week is the season finale. Yes, I am doing this in seasons, but that doesn't mean that we will just have a whole month, which I plan to take off from Weird Mom, of just like no content. I will be coming out with different kinds of content, like bonus things, and so hopefully you guys like those things that are coming down the pipe. Oh God, I hate that phrase. And then, we'll gear up for an even better season 2. Hopefully I'll have better communication skills and that I get the hang of this and that. I already bought a new mic. I'm not using it right now because I want to save that for next season, but I already got a new mic. I'm about to start working on different things to make the quality better. So hang in there and keep listening and keep, vibing out with me. Thank you for listening and have a great week.